Now we're going to get into the races. We're going to start off with Formula One here, like always. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Gentlemen, first impressions of that race.
Started off good, and then the Ferraris, boy, the Ferraris had all kinds of issues today. It was ridiculous. But I will say Hamilton had his best run of the season, finishing at fourth, I think. So, a little bit of momentum gained today for the Mercedes team of Hamilton. But it was the Verstappen show again. I mean, he murdered the field today.
It was Verstappen up until the point where it wasn't Verstappen. It was Leclerc up until the point where he went kablooey. And then Carlos Sainz had an issue. So this makes 2 weeks in a row, both Spain and the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where Ferrari suffered a DNF with their top driver that has a shot of competing against Verstappen for the championship this season. That spells trouble because a few weeks ago, Ferrari was leading the Constructors' Championship, and now they are not. I'm going to bring up the standings here real quick. It's now Verstappen, Perez, and Leclerc, the top three positions for the Drivers' Championship, and now Red Bull has overtaken Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, and Ferrari looked like they couldn't be stopped at any point during this season, and now all of a sudden, something bit them, and something's biting them hard.
It's almost like the Verstappen issue where he would have a mechanical failure, win a race, have a mechanical failure, win a race. But with the Ferraris, it's just nonstop right now. I mean, they're blowing up left and right.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the race. I had family stay up after the gender reveal. I did see that Verstappen won. I was excited by that. I think I'm new to the F1 racing, so I think I'm Team Red Bull. But who knows? Ferrari could have a turnaround here soon, and they'll bounce back, and it'll be close at the end.
Well, two things to say to that, Austin. First of all, bandwagon jumper. I'm just going to call it like I see it. I like to bust your chops there, though. But second of all, Red Bull didn't really have a strong showing, but one of the big takeaways I take away from that race was Lewis Hamilton had an up and down day, but his car, I don't know, I know you didn't see it, Austin, but I don't know if you saw it, Charlie. Throughout the course of the race, it would just this. And qualifying and practice, it was just up and down, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. He couldn't have been comfortable in the car. He still eked out a fourth-place finish. His teammate, George Russell, another podium for him. But, man, I mean, answer me this. As a driver, and Austin, you can answer this too. As a driver, if something's mechanically wrong with the car where it's just, like, up and down, and you could hear it just bottoming out, just do. I mean, how does that affect you? Does that affect you more mentally or physically when you're racing?
Depends on when it's happening. I mean, if it's happening down the straightaway,
it's happening down the straightaway. Yeah,
that may be just more of an aero thing because let's face it, they were hauling butt at this track. I mean, speeds of almost 220 mile an hour, and I don't know that it wasn't just an aero thing, but as long as you're handling just fine, you're braking and handling just fine in the corners, and you're still moving up through the field, it may be uncomfortable, but you don't say anything. You don't worry about it. You put that in the back of your mind until something breaks.
What about you, Austin? How does that affect you as a driver? How would that affect you as a driver? More mentally or physically?
Probably mentally, because you're just thinking what's going wrong, what's fixing to break, especially if you're running good. 1, 2, 3, you're holding on, just expecting the worst. Is the tire going to go down? Is something going to break and I'm going to hit the wall and I'm not going to finish today? That's probably what's going to go through your head. That's normally what goes through your head.
All right. Well, I got a special request here from our co-host here, so we're going to go ahead and stop the screen flipping. Eventually, we'll get to the point where we will have a producer here and maybe everybody in the shop one day. Let me get our background up. There we go. Now we're back here, three on run. I'm trying something new for YouTube, so forgive me on that.
And it's not a bad thing by no means.
Well, once StreamYard fixes their program, it's more of a StreamYard thing. It wasn't a problem.
It just seemed like I'm trying to listen and learn as well as we're talking, and it just seemed like there was a lot of pausing, and especially with us being live, it just. Okay. So anyway, we'll worry about the technical issues.
Yeah, I'm more of a visual person myself. Like I gotta see you talk.
Yeah.
to comprehend it.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough.
Well,
Okay, so
I'm a millennial, remember?
yeah, we'll go ahead and take care of that. But yeah, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix was a great race. I think one of the top races of the weekend, if you had to ask me, just based on what I saw this whole weekend. Good race, exciting till the end, except when Red Bull just took off there. I thought Sergio Perez might have a chance at Max Verstappen, but even with that, I think Max Verstappen's the number one driver. He's the defending champion. I don't know if they would have let him pass him. It's the team hoarder thing with Formula One. I think we'll get more into that later on, maybe in the midseason review for Formula One. But that was the Formula One Grand Prix. Anything else before we get into Indy Car from Road America?
Yeah, how am I a bandwagon jumper? I was Team Red Bull when I first started.
I don't know. It's just a bandwagon thing, man.
Yeah, if he's going to be bandwagon, I guess he'd jump into F1 and be like, I'm a Hamilton fan.
He could have been, but then he would have been very disappointed this
I
season.
would have been like,
It took him into register, and I was like,
as soon as you just said that, it looks like Austin's having technical difficulties. Don't know what happened, but he's left the building.
After I've got him that whole new microphone setup, but you sound great, by the way, Austin. It isn't echoing anymore. It sounds great.
There's a big difference, but
yeah, I appreciate you sending me the mic. I actually but it works for me. He said, "Man, I listened to the podcast the other night, and you sounded terrible." I said, "We got the fix. It's going to be here Tuesday."
Yeah, we got the fix, and it makes all the difference. Did it with Charlie and do it with you, no problem whatsoever. Hey, Ramblin' About Racing Nation, like what you just saw, make sure to check us out at ramblinaboutracing.com and all your major podcast platforms for the audio version of the show. Or if you just like watching Ramblin' About Racing, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for upcoming episodes.